The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is. I'd like to read something to you pertaining, I read it before. It's done by Guy Finley. He reads the great truths in order to resonate, to have his heart sound out the soothing tones of timeless light, captured in the printed word upon each page. What are such words other than invisible truths made visible? The infallible made the tangible to nourish hungry hearts. Such sentiments caught on paper may be either a window or a door, a passage or an impasse, depending on whether the seeker sees them as an invitation to a feast or mistakes them for being the food itself. But for those who wish direct relationship with God, it is not enough to reverberate, knowing these tender tones must soon depart. Besides, what purpose is the sound of this interior invitation but to know the singer himself, to be his song? Impossible cynical voices in tones, laughing within and without, even as they abide alone and apart, laminating their barren rampart. But who will? Must choose to be, after all. Invitations require preparation, and their promise must be laid down in favor of their presence and their purpose, so that the good work of preparation for perfection may begin. I thought that was so interesting to have that. I found it somewhere, I don't know where, but it's by Guy Finley. Tonight what we're going to do, we're going to work on the throat chakra. And most of us know a little bit about the throat chakra. The throat chakra is located in the front of the throat, but it's slanted slightly toward the back of the body. So it's slanted. So we got to know that. It has a slant to it. The symbol, as you picked up this symbology here, this is the old one. The symbol is the circle of unity of all that comes within the triangle, indicating an increasing openness to spirit. And we know what the triangle is. It could be body, mind, and spirit, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Whatever the triangle means to you, it's still becoming part of the whole and becoming one. Within the circle, that's the one, that's the openness, and the circle represents spirit. So we have that, and of course you're going to do all these colorings. Did everybody do their homework last time? They do a new heart thing. Remember we gave some heart ones out that you could do a second heart? If you didn't do it, it's okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, the chakra here has 16 petals, and most of the time it is all representing the unity with all that comes within the triangle, indicating the increasing oneness to spirit. Now, what do you think that all means? One thing, communication. We have to communicate with all three, body, mind, and spirit, to become perfected and whole, don't we? We have to listen to what we hear with our ears within our body and what's being told. And the element is ether. Now, why are we doing this mastering of the chakras? Because it's going to help purify us, and honestly we're going to be recognizing how we feel and have the confidences of the communication with ourselves and with all others. How many people have conversations with themselves? Absolutely, and that's okay, but I want you to pay attention to what your conversation is. You know, is it a positive or is it a negative? All right? I want to be careful with that communication. Now, the color of this chakra is usually blue. And it can go from a clear, bright blue to a very dark lapis blue. Anybody know what lapis looks like? Sometimes it can be very dark. There are different shades of lapis. Sometimes it has a little gold flecks in it, I think lapis does, doesn't it? But anyway, it's that color. And that's the color we want to see with this throat chakra. And usually this develops between 16 and 21. Now these are old teachings. So I want to go back, because the world has speeded up so fast. I want to go back to maybe 10 now, or when a child starts talking back and using this throat thing, okay? So we want to go back a couple years, because when they start doing that, you know they have that throat thing. And normally that's when it starts. But then it continues to mature. And as parents and as teachers or facilitators, whoever we are, that really, I think, is our responsibility, is to teach a child sometimes respect of the throat, the words he says, so forth, how he talks to people, how he communicates with you. I think that's a big part of everyone's lesson. Also, the sense represents the hearing and the speech, because it's life expression. This is all life expression right here. And the glands that are with it are the thyroid and the parathyroid gland. And these represent all aspects of growth. Temperature, our body temperatures, how it controls our body temperatures. And it's also our energy production. It's our energy production. And the parathyroid glands, they really control our calcium metabolism. And a lot of times, and this just came to me as I was doing this, I'm going, you know, maybe that's where we need to have some of our things, like if you have a weight issue, like me, maybe we need to have that calcium checked. Maybe we're deficient in that calcium on some level, that our parathyroid gland isn't working. So maybe that'd be good to talk to your doctor about. Because I was thinking about this. I thought maybe that's the thing I was connecting. Also, the connection is with the sacral chakra. How many people remember where it is? Where is it? Sacral, right here. The belly. It's the belly chakra. These two are connected. Now let's talk about this. Remember all of the things that happen in the sacral chakra. Where's that? That's in between our ages, going back where we store things. That also connects to our throat chakra. And we're going to talk about that later, because then you're going to say, wow, now I know why that person may be like that. Okay? Because it's a connection. The spiritual connection with this is the spiritual connection is patience. When you have a little boy and he's not speaking right, you have to have extra patience, don't you? Take patience and teach and have distinction. And it's also the power of choice. We have the power over this. We have the power. Matter of fact, what are we? We are the power, aren't we? How many people believe that? Absolutely. And also, this throat chakra, you can tell with the harmony within yourself and with others. And it also is the big I and the ego. It has to do everything. See how everything is connecting? See? If all these aren't taken care of, this is going to come out really wrong sometimes. And it's purification. All of what we're working on is purification of every chakra. And I think every healer, everybody that studies any type of healing, any type of counseling, I really think they should know all these different parts, because that you know how to help someone. What are we going to gain by working on this throat chakra? Well, number one, we're going to learn how the power of communication that is effective with people, that people don't get angry, that we can clarify. Now, how are we going to do that? Be the tone of our voice. You can be here, and I can be over there, and the tone of your voice, is it authority? Is it in love? Is it with compassion? Everything we say, a word, is vibration, isn't it? So if we have an attitude of superiority, even on many phone calls, they can tell if you're angry, they can tell if you get upset, they can tell all these things. And does it help sometimes? Yeah, sometimes it does. Does it help majority of the time? No, it gets you nowhere. That's why we have to really work on that. And it's also going to give you a better understanding of your own integrity. You're saying, well, I think I'm honest to myself. Are you really? You know, when I redo these classes, we go in, and I go over all of this within myself, and boy, I find a lot of this that I got to work on again. It's not a one-class thing. And of course, it's going back to the true meaning of being honest with yourself. That's the big thing. That all works with the throat chakra, because if you're not being honest with yourself and know your imperfections, you're really not going to be able to communicate that on another level to another person. Because somewhere along the line, that verbal expression allows you to be able to share with the world. So if we do it in compassion and love, it's going to be, you're going to have a much better time in life. Also, it's connected to the 5th etheric level. Now that level is about 2 to 3 feet. Remember the pictures I had up here? It's about 2 to 3 feet away from your body. And this layer is the perfect template of your body. This is the layer that even in some trauma, a trauma incident. When I'm saying a trauma, it may be your arm is cut off. This is the etheric layer of your body that is going to tell you, I have a phantom pain out here. It's always going to remain whole. Does everybody understand that? You hear that a lot when people lose toes. They say, oh, my toe hurts or itches or something. That's because they're connected into that 5th layer. And this layer also is the place where we can recreate into another dimension. What does that mean? We can recreate all our things and go to another dimension. We're in between dimensions at this level in the etheric. And it connects the realms of possibilities that we can select our beliefs and truths, which I think a lot of us have been in that level, that we are selecting. We're not being brainwashed that this is the only way. We believe in many ways. And you find out your truth. And that may change every day. That may change every day. And you just have to know. And it's also the healing attribute of this layer is the transformation. You're going to learn that transformation is limitless. You can do anything if you work within this layer. So we know that when people have problems with this 5th layer, with their body and those areas which we're going to discuss, you're going to know that's the area you want to go in there and kind of cleanse up and clean up, because that's the attraction between the two worlds. Now, what are some of the functions of that 5th? It's our verbal expressions, as I said before. It's hearing and listening. Sometimes we think we're listening, but we're not hearing. And vice versa. We hear, but we didn't listen. You see the difference there? And that happens an awful lot. And nonverbal communications. Wow. This all goes with the throat chakra. Our movements and actions when we speak. That's all goes with that chakra. And it's internal communication within our body. This is the functions of the fifth. It's the internal communications. How many times did you say, you know, my body's not feeling right? You're communicating with your body. You see the triangle? You're communicating. Body, mind, and spirit, you're communicating. And that's what we need to do. But after, when we get all of this worked out and it all starts to flow, we're going to have less mind chatter. Sometimes we have a lot of chatter, but that chatter is going to become less and less. And our thinking is going to be clearer. Because why? Because we're going to connect to a higher universal power. A new presence, a new wisdom. And that's what we all want. We want our own wisdom. That's so important. Don't you want your own wisdom? Absolutely. You want to pick up things. It's good to read a book, but that's someone else's wisdom. You know? You got to experience it. And then that's wisdom. Experience goes with wisdom. And what are the physical connections with this? It's your neck, it's your shoulders, it's the lower part of your face, your teeth, your jaws. It goes all the way up to here, but not including the eyes. It's up to here, like this. Can you see this? I bet this looks good on tape. What does this represent? To me, it represents a chalice. And that's what I drew many years ago. That was my interpretation, a chalice. But anyway, this is with the throat. When all of this starts cleaning up, we start having telepathy. We can have telepathy. We get tuned in. We get tuned into each other. How often did you do that? You want to pick up a phone and they're on the phone already. It's because you have that moment that you can connect with that individual. And also, what is channeling? This is the level that channeling comes through the throat, all right? Now, let's get a difference between us, because I hear so many mediums say they're channelers, or they say, I'm channeling this, and we got to clear this up. Because channeling is a communication with higher soul consciousness. That doesn't mean Uncle Harry. It doesn't mean Aunt Minerva. That means the Ascended Masters. That means someone on a higher level. I even have to, you know, this is, and you see this a lot where and you see it a lot now on internet. You get a lot of these messages where they call it channeling but it's hierarchy. Joshua Stone, he tuned into the higher elements of consciousness. Mediumship is communicating with people who have lived on Earth on the third and fourth dimension. That's usually mediumship. Harry Edwards. What does he do? Does he say, Archangel Michael is coming down here? Does he say, no, he'll say, I have a John, I have a Mary, I have a Sue. Most spiritualists will work on a mediumship level. But that's their level of understanding what they want to do. And that's fine, because people really need to have that assurance that their loved ones are okay. Now, when this throat chakra doesn't function right, what are some of the things? Communication, all aspects of communication. Not being able to explain. Yes, hon?
I have a question about the throat chakra. I've always been into the color blue, and I've always felt I was expressive. Mm-hmm. But many years ago, like 25 years ago or something, I had this big fight with my dad. Mm-hmm. And ever since then, there's like this energy that's stuck in there.
We're going to talk about that.
And it won't leave me. You know? Okay. Well,
we're going to work on that. We'll work on that tonight. You're one jump ahead of me here. That's telepathy.
Okay.
See, he's already telling me what I'm going to tell all you. But anyway, it's poor communication, and that's one. And sometimes we have that stubborn function where we only want to hear what we want to hear. We don't want to hear the other part. It's only our level of understanding. We listen to only what we want to hear for ourselves. And this happens a lot. And you know what the biggest one is? Exaggeration. Exaggerating a point. See, that's an overactive thyroid here. And we all have that I would say that hindrance at times. We all do that. But the other one is, and I don't like to say this because I have this problem myself sometimes because I get annoyed with me when I'm not. But I try to always be perfect, and the more I try to be, the more I screw up. How many people have that problem?
Yes, absolutely.
That's right. It's perfectionism. We think we're perfect. And that's a misfunction because we're not perfect. And sometimes it's a poor sense of humor that you may say something to someone else, and it may be a little sarcastic, but when they say something back to you, you're insulted. Or you might be very offended, and you might really judge them because of that. And also another one is when we block our creativity. That has to do with the chakra too. We block our own expressions. And sometimes it's difficulties in finding the correct niche in life. Now, why is this? Number one, confidence. See how it all goes into all of here? It's confidence because of our communication. Sometimes you can go for a job, and the person says to you, you may say, how many applications do you have? Did apply? And they may say, 15. But did you choose anybody? But we have to do an in-service. Let's say if it's a bid job. Now everybody knows what a bid job is. When you work within a firm, they put it on the board and you bid on it. After they bid on it, they put it out in the street. So if I'm applying for the job and I say to you, that means you're not going to give me the job, you're going to give it to someone, a relative or someone in the company. Is that going to get you a job? No. See what I'm saying? That's just an example. That's not, you have to, it's all in communication sometimes. Now why can't people speak up? Now Kenny, this is where we're going to touch in on you. How many times when you were little, you were told you went to visit someone and you couldn't talk? You were saying, you be quiet, your children are to be seen, not heard. We hear that a lot. I don't think it's as much today as it was when I was growing up, because I think they're a lot more verbal today, That's why I'm saying that development starts early. Sometimes it's not in the right way. But also that we're made to feel that our opinions are worthless, maybe somewhere in our life. That if you express something, it might sound kind of dumb to you. It might be dumb to others, but then if you tell them, that was stupid, and that was dumb at a very young age, that's going to stay with you for a long time. That's why people don't want to express what they're feeling, because they're afraid of the ridicule. Excuse me? Okay. Sometimes that happens. We're afraid to speak up because it might sound stupid, it might be out of line, or it might be not right. And that's what happens. And what happens, you go like this. See what you do? This is what happens. We close ourselves off and say, I'm not going to speak. I'm just not going to do that. I'm not going to get hurt. And that's what happens, and you can see it. And also, this individual, as they grow up, when they have this problem when they're younger, they will also have neglect responsibilities in their life. How many people do we know like that? Somewhere along the line that happened, and we have to get it with it. So in order to cope with this rejection that they feel, they don't speak up. How did you feel when you had the argument with your dad?
Oh,
Were you ridiculed?
yeah, kind of ridicule, I guess.
You weren't allowed to express your opinion.
Yeah, I remember hitting the pillow and saying, oh, he's the devil or something like that. And, well, we were just, we disagreed, It was all about these, I was into spirituality, Eastern religions, vegetarianism, and yoga, and he hated all this stuff. So, really, like a big battle,
So you were afraid to talk about it?
I think maybe, I probably stuffed some anger, But, so,
well, you can release that now because you're around people that love you and will understand what you're saying.
yeah.
You probably got frustrated because he got frustrated because he didn't know what you were talking about.
Yeah.
And you got frustrated because he wasn't accepting what you were talking about.
Right.
So we're going to work on that. We hope to do a lot of that tonight. Now, what is a true communicator? What is a true communicator? Anybody want to answer that?
The internet.
The internet.
No, it's probably the most large word.
A good communicator will be able to communicate to everyone. If it's frustration, if it's anger, they'll be able to do that in a manner that it does not affect anyone else. How many people do you know like that? Hello? We have to recognize the power of the words we speak. So often, we abuse them. We abuse that power that God gave us, this wonderful voice, this wonderful voice box. I know a girl, this is a little example that I got to share. I know a girl that was such a very negative being all her life. Every other word that she said was not nice. She wasn't nice to anybody, very seldom. Well, she had this issue with her throat, and she had to go and she had to have. Matter of fact, they wanted to remove her tongue. And her husband called me from Philadelphia, and he said, Isabel, they want to take her tongue out. That's what's going to save her life. And she don't want this done. Then I said, well, she has the choice to do what she wants to do. So she decided she's not going to have her tongue taken out. She's just going to have the larynx removed and so forth and get one of those little buttons. And I often thought, to this day, she cusses this little button. To this day. And I look at her, and I think that's when we learned a big lesson. You look at people like that, and you got to really have empathy for them because they didn't learn their lesson in life. And they're going to have to come back and do all of this all over again. She never had the opportunity, maybe, to learn these lessons in life. But I often think of every time she talks and then she cusses this, she'll say, she like curses it. I'm going, but you're speaking. You're speaking. So we got to remember that. It's all connected to our thoughts and our words and our thinking sometimes. And then what about we have a person that really has a mask on what they're saying. That's the clown in life. The person that always appears jovial to everybody. Always happy, always laughing, making jokes. they're hiding behind something. Usually it's with this, usually from growing up. They think they've accepted themselves, but they truly haven't. So they have to project as this person that can, like a clown. You ever see a clown in a mask and how sad they are, and they try to make everybody laugh all the time? And then do you ever see the clown with a big tear coming down the street? I often think of that, because isn't that sad? Because then you know that level too of understanding where that individual's coming from.
You do realize most clowns don't speak.
But they're sad? Yeah.
Everything is expression, but they do not speak.
That's true, they beep horns.
Well, Pickles is a different clown.
Oh, they toot their horns. But what I'm saying is a person, you can judge that, see that person. A lot of times you'll see that and you'll say, they're not like that. Something's not right. But anyway, so we all know that this throat chakra is the communication chakra. It's the art of transmitting and receiving information. The communication is an essential key for the inner planes and for our physical world. It's very important for multidimensional work on all levels. And that's what we're going into, my friends. It's multiple dimensions. We all heard that we've had parallel souls on all levels. Not everybody understands that.